All right, hi, this is Dan Henk. Welcome to another edition of the Skull Sessions. And today my guest is, I'm going to screw this up, Madeleine Holly-Rose.
Rosing.
See, I knew I'd screw it up. All right, so what do you got to go on, Madeleine? Let's talk about your projects.
Well, thank you for having me on the show. I really appreciate it, Dan. I'm glad we finally were able to get our timing linked up here. I know we were going like, well, no, wait, but no, wait, but no, wait.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
No, this is like, I think the third attempt, right?
yeah, it was. Well, right now at this second, on I guess today is April 16th on a Wednesday, I've got a project on Kickstarter called Morgana Pendragon. It is the first issue in a four-issue miniseries, and it's the first series that I've done other than under my own IP, uh, other than Boston Metaphysical Society. Most people know me from my steampunk supernatural series, Boston Metaphysical, which
Okay.
which has been around for over a decade and is probably one of the longest running comics on Kickstarter.
Oh,
Uh,
awesome. Yeah.
yeah, I'm pretty sure it's probably in the top 10. So, because I started like a year before, folks like Charlie Stickney and Taylor James and all those great folks. But yeah, the Boston Metaphysical got me started in indie comics, and I never expected to be here, but here I am, and I guess I'm here to stay. But Morgana Pendragon is, I'm sure many of your audience know, is a character from King, Arthurian lore and legend of King Arthur, and she was his half sister. Uh, but I've taken it a very different tact in that we've never seen them when they're older. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, so Morgana Pendragon, the story starts 20 years after Morgana's war with her brother Arthur. She's been traveling. She has a mercenary team. She's a professional mercenary, but she uh, gets a message from England that her brother, King Arthur, is dying. So she returns home with, of course, threats of assassination attempts, political intrigue, and of course, she's meeting her son Mordred for the first time in 20 years. And so all of that, comes together. And and the kicker here is that she no longer has use of her magic.
Okay.
So and there's a greater threat that's coming as well. But none of the Arthurian lore ever talks about what happens post Camelot, what happens down the line. And so I wanted to take it from a female point of view and for Morgana's point of view, because she's traditionally been written and seen in media as being evil or horrible or sorceress or something very negative, as opposed to if she did exist at some point, if she ever existed, uh, she would be a much more complex person than that.
Okay.
And as you probably realize, women of intelligence and power are often called evil
Right.
because people don't know how to deal
Especially
with.
back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah. And well, it still goes on, trust me. But not quite as bad.
I was
Uh
going to say especially.
yeah. uh so yeah, it was a lot it was very interesting and a lot of fun to write because Boston Metaphysical tends to be more cerebral. There is some action, but not as much. But with Morgana, I got to exercise my action chops. So we have some, cool sword fights and, battles going on that I've had a real I'm having a good time writing.
Okay. So you're the author and you brought in a separate artist working on it?
That is correct. I am the writer creator, but yes, I have a team. Alden Kay is my interior artist for Morgana. He's absolutely fantastic. A fun story about him. I was at Rose City Comic Con and was chatting with David Walker, another writer. He's done Big Jim and the White Boy, Bitterroot, Planet of the Apes, a whole bunch of stuff. And we usually chat about con stuff. And I mentioned to him that I was looking for an artist for a new project. And he said, "Hey, I met this guy. I'm thinking of hiring him for some stuff for me. Do you mind if he stops by your table? He's here out of Portland." And I said, "Sure, I'd love to meet him." And so Alden stopped by and showed me his portfolio, which was amazing. Turns out he won the Mad Cave talent competition, which doesn't surprise me at all. But what really attracted me to his work, other than it was just beautiful, is that he drew women as women. They weren't hypersexualized, they weren't objectified, and so they were short, fat, tall, thin, old, young. I mean, the whole gamut.
Yeah, it
And
seems like there's kind of a stereotype, especially like the bigger things like Marvel and DC, the bigger publishers, where it's like
yeah,
this is what they all are. They're like super skinny with like double D breasts. It's like
yeah,
that makes no sense.
yeah. And and hey, there's a market for that, and that's okay.
Oh, I'm sure there's a market for a lot of stuff.
There's a market for that. I mean, there's nothing, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's just not what I want as a creator, and it's not
Right.
how I want my
It's
characters
not
to be.
realistic. Yeah.
Yeah, I do prefer more realistic art for my IP. That's just
Okay.
me. That's a personal preference. Uh,
I think that's a good twist. So, like, it's a fantastical tale. So, to convince people it's as enlivened as possible, you incorporate elements of realism in it. So, I think when everything is like too over the top, people just don't buy it.
yeah, you're absolutely right. It grounds a story,
Right.
and it enables your reader and your audience to come in and grasp the situation very easily because there's recognizable elements, and then you can build on that with the fantastical where it fits appropriately. uh it's Morgana Pendragon has what I call magical realism in it, in that it's a world where magic does normally exist. No one questions it, but in this particular timeline, it's starting to fade out.
Did you base it off of anything? Are there like any writers, kind of like, I like their take on this? Or like, is there any myth or lore that kind of like, you're like, that's kind of the angle I wanted to head towards?
Um, well, the only thing I really, base this on very loosely is the Legend of King Arthur.
Okay.
Yeah, and some of the writings around it, in the fact that you had Morgana and Arthur and Sir Gawain and Sir Bedivere and the various knights of the Round Table. Merlin is not in this story. It's I don't want to give away spoilers. um, but this it's been a while. It's been, like I said, it's been 20 years, and life has happened. So, and things have changed and people have died. So things aren't the same of, you know, when you watch one of the many movies about King Arthur and Lancelot and Guinevere. I mean, we're
That
we're
was
way
one thing I was to ask you. Do you think there's been a good portrayal of Arthur? Because I know a lot of people that are like really into like say Sherlock Holmes or King Arthur, like
yeah.
any sort of like famous character from lore. Don't think that there's been a really good filmatic portrayal of that person or character.
Well, if you want to get kind of weird and fantastical Excalibur that was out, what was that, at least 30 years ago? Minimum
Okay.
40, maybe 40 years ago now, with a very young Helen Mirren, and it was fun and interesting and very bizarre to watch. It's a very old movie and very, very strange.
Okay.
Um,
Did you watch
there,
the new Guy Ritchie movie?
um, I
I didn't
don't,
watch it, so I can't comment on it.
yeah, I don't think so. There was one with, that was pretty good that had Keira Knightley and Clive Owens, I think is his name, in it. I think that was interesting. I like that because that had a very grounded feel to it.
Okay.
And that did. I think the things that interest me the most are the movies and the history that some historians and uh, literary professionals believe that Arthur may have been based on King Alfred of England. And if you watch the series The Last Kingdom, you'll meet Alfred through the point of view of a character called Uhtred. He's Uhtred, son of Uhtred, and how he was English. He was actually the heir to. I'm trying to think. Battenberg. I'm sure someone will correct me who watches this. Which is a castle. Actually exists. Though Uhtred was a fictional character, Alfred was not, and Alfred was the first king of England. Well, there wasn't really an England then. It was broken up into kingdom
Like the
states.
British Isles, yeah.
Yeah, it was like Mercia and Daria and all these individual states, and he he had this dream and idea that England itself would be stronger if all of these smaller kingdoms were unified under one king.
Okay.
That's what he strived for, and which is what Arthur, the legend of Arthur strived for. And but the real Alfred, he never he was on his way to accomplishing that. I believe it was his son that actually did it, that unified England under one king. But from the history I've read, some people believe that the legend of King Arthur comes from Alfred.
You think any of the elements are true? Like, I'm not necessarily saying like the Lady of the Water, but like the Sword and the Stone. Like, often legends are based on at least a granule of myth.
Um, Probably there's something. I mean that's why I wouldn't be surprised if the Legend of Arthur was based on Alfred because he had this dream of unifying England, and then the story of Arthur took root with this dream of Camelot, and that would encompass, and you'd have the Knights of the Round Table and Law and Order and all these wonderful things until it went all to hell in a handbasket. But
Seems to
um,
be the way of the world.
yes, yes, absolutely. Um, but yeah, there's probably, grains of truth in the legend of Arthur. Most myths start from, little tiny grains of truth, and
Yeah.
people embellish on it over the centuries because they want to tell a good story.
Well, they're all fireside tales. There's kind of like that, like classroom thing where like the phone thing around the
Yes.
room.
Yeah.
So when the same tale is repeated again and again, it slightly changes.
Yeah. So, like I said, my story is very loosely based on that legend and a tiny, tiny bit of history and a tiny bit of science. If I can work in some science, I always try to do that because it's just fun.
Okay.
Um,
So how far are you in this? Did you just start it? Are you working on the second chapter?
well, the first issue is up on Kickstarter right now.
Okay.
Alden is done with the art for issue one. The coloring will be done probably in about a week and a half, and then it'll go to be lettered and then go to pre-press. So we're in pretty good shape as far as the first issue. I have the entire series already outlined out, and I'm three-quarters of the way of issue two. I've had a lot on my plate, so I haven't gotten back to finish it, but I know Alden is like, so when is it coming? When is it coming? He's ready for it. Uh, but yeah, the whole team is great. The colorist, her name is Warnia Sahadawe. She's from Indonesia and just does tremendous work. And Troy Pateri is doing the lettering. So,
Do you have like a release schedule? Are you gonna have an issue like every 3 months or 4 months?
uh, at this point, I am not sure. I'm hoping to run a Kickstarter for issue two in the fall, but I'm also going to be moving, so that's kind of
It
problematic.
might throw a monkey wrench, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So,
So I guess the artists and colors like they have other projects that they
oh
work on
yes,
with.
oh yes, oh yeah. They
Okay.
they're doing a balancing act too, just
Right.
like I am, because I'm in the I'm finishing up. Actually, the writing is done. The art for the fourth issue of Boston Metaphysical Society Mystery at Pikes Peak, which is our latest series, that's being finished. Um, Actually, issue three is done. Coloring's being done. Artist is starting on issue four. And I've also written a story for Lady Mechanica, which I believe is going up on Kickstarter later this month, in the next week or two. It's called The Mechanical Menagerie.
So
And
these are all different
these are all different.
storylines you have going on.
Yes. So I'm spinning a lot of plates.
A lot of wheels, yeah. So what do you have out now then? You're saying you have you obviously mentioned more than one thing.
Yeah.
What do you have out now?
What I have out right now are the special edition hardbacks of Volume 1 and Volume 2 of Boston Metaphysical Society. Those I had, I ran through Kickstarter last year successfully. They look gorgeous. They're foil embossed, have satin ribbon bookmarks, just beautiful. Um, Also has pinup art, and each one of them has bonus stories as well. So that's available right now. You can get that from me when I'm at any Comic-Con, um, or through my website. For those of you who are in Southern California, I'll actually be at the Festival of Books, not this weekend, but the following weekend. Comic-Con Revolution in Ontario in May, Hellmouth Con in June, and San Diego Comic-Con in July.
Okay. And of course you have your Kickstarter. What's the campaign name?
The campaign on Kickstarter is called Morgana Pendragon number one. That's Morgana, last name Pendragon. You can just type that in and it'll pop right up. So we
You
have, I
said you have
think,
more than one series going on. Are those all Kickstarter projects, or they're all done except for this is the current one?
well, Morgana is the only one that's on Kickstarter right now. But yes, I have my Boston Metaphysical, which we're working on, and Lady Mechanica.
Okay. And do you have a website where these are
Yes,
all available?
yes, you can go to queenofmercia.com. That's QueenofMercia.
Okay. And
And
do you
I'm
have like
also,
I was talking to Teresa Grant. I've interviewed her a couple times on the podcast, and both on their website and whenever she does a Kickstarter, she has various different things you can get with the various tiers, like little perks, like stuffed animals or stickers or whatever. Do you have anything like that?
Yeah, for Morgana right now we the reward tiers are you can get a digital copy for just $6. Um, and you can get uh a standard the first issue plus the PDF for 15, and it also includes domestic shipping. We have some super cool bookmarks. I'll have to send you the images of those that Alden has done of one I call The Sword and the Bird, and the other is kind of Mordred, Morgana. They're so gorgeous. And the best part is we are funded. We are heading towards stretch goal number 3 at this point. So everyone who has pledged to a reward at this point will get 6 additional digital comics. And if you've pledged to a physical reward, we have this very cool Morgana 3-inch magnet that was designed by Roberta Ingranata, who does Doctor Who for Titan Comics, and colored
Okay.
by Valentina Pinto. They're just great. Roberta and Valentina actually did a variant cover for me, and I think I sent that to you, but I can resend that just in case, so you can pop that up.
I'm
It's
taking
absolutely
you
gorgeous.
you have like your own publishing company that you started, like whether it's just for your stuff or for your stuff and some stuff you like.
It's I'm a hybrid. When I first started out self-published, like most people do, because I never thought I was going to become my own publishing company. And when we finished the first 6 issues of Boston Metaphysical, I was picked up by SourcePoint Press, and so SourcePoint distributed the original 6-issue mini series through Diamond and through comic book stores, along with the
I
trade.
hear Diamond is going under.
Yeah, I think they are, but this was a few years ago, so
Okay.
this has already been done. And SourcePoint also picked up the my 4 standalone sequels, which were also at that time distributed through Diamond. Um, but Morgana is distributed through me under my Queen of Mercia imprint. So yeah, it's the first that's strictly under my publishing, my new publishing company.
Right. Do you offer to have like it's kind of like a print on demand like from Amazon or like I've heard a number of people say they don't like the way the Amazon prints stuff, so they use like a different source.
I do use a different source for my comics. Um, in the past, I have uploaded on Amazon, so you could buy them on Amazon, but I don't really do that much anymore. I usually buy my floppies and my trades overseas, and but my variants I get in the United States because I get a small quantity of the variants because I always keep those limited to about 150 or so.
Okay.
Yeah, so people they're special, so I want, people are paying a little extra for it, so
You want to offer them something, yeah.
yeah, no, it's not going to be, the variants are never distributed widely.
So how long you've been doing this? Like it sounds like you've been doing this for a while.
Oh my God, I believe it or not, probably 12 years now.
Yeah. Well, it's sad that now that's a veteran in the industry. Like,
I
it seems
know.
like back in the old days, with like DC and Marvel and Atlas and stuff like that, it'd be like 40 years. But 12 years is now like, oh, holy shit, you've been doing it forever. But so how much do you have out? And is it all still available?
All of my Boston Metaphysical uh is out between the The volume one and volume two, which compiles, volume one compiles our original 6-issue miniseries. Volume two compiles our 4 standalone sequels. And the first 2 issues of Mystery at Pikes Peak are out. That's the, and oh, and I have two prose books, a novel and an anthology that are also based in the Boston metaphysical world. They're prequels to the graphic novels. Everything I do is normally is standalone, because I never know how people are gonna come into the world. So that's what's out in the world right now. Morgana should be, we should be able to stay on fulfillment track for July. So hopefully I'll have some copies for San Diego Comic-Con.
Do you kind of do that Marvel DC thing where like everything's kind of in the same universe?
Um, well, for Boston Metaphysical, it is. Morgana is in a completely different, it's totally different. It's a completely different series, different world, everything. So they're completely unrelated.
Okay, have you found that some of it is more popular, like it hits a wider audience?
Well, Boston Metaphysical's been around long enough, so I've had the time to build an audience, and they're awesome. They're a very devoted audience. Uh,
Okay.
Morgana, but Boston Metaphysical is also it's a very niche genre because it's like a steampunk supernatural thing,
Right.
and that's not everybody's thing, which is fine. I get that. I think Morgana will probably have a broader audience because it falls under like a medieval fantasy with battles, sword fighting, deep
Right.
world.
Well, that is a wider trope. Like Lord of the Rings, does better than like a lot of sci-fi stuff,
Yeah,
a lot of horror stuff.
yeah, yeah. So I think Morgana will eventually have a broader audience. Um, I mean, we're doing well on Kickstarter. Right now, we're at 466 backers, and we still have 15 days to go. So
Okay.
it's really nice because about a quarter of those people are absolutely brand new to me. They've never backed anything of mine before. So, I say welcome to them, and I'm sure they'll enjoy this story.
What's the name of your current campaign that's up right now?
Morgana Pendragon.
Okay. And they just type that in and they find the link to it.
Yes. Yes. They just go onto Kickstarter and you will find it. It will not be difficult.
Okay. And again, I know people hate to do this, but if you had to compare it to something, I'm not saying it's a rip off of something. I'm just saying if you like this, you might be inspired by our stuff.
Um, Trying to think of that. I would say anything King Arthur related. You
Okay.
would probably enjoy it. Yeah.
Kind of like a little bit more sword and sorcery, fantasy
Yeah, yeah,
stuff.
any of anything in the sword and sorcery realm.
Would it be kind of more like a Lord of the Rings or more Game of Thrones?
I would say closer to Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
Yeah. Game yeah. Game of Thrones. Yeah, I've read it and watched it, and yeah, the violence level is kind of off the hook.
Well, I do a lot of the cosmic horror, so to me, it's like just part of the course. But
Yeah.
okay, so the best way to see your stuff is to go to your website and then also hopefully contribute to your Kickstarter.
That's correct. You can also find me on Facebook. Uh, I have a personal page, Madeleine Holly-Rosing. There's a Boston Metaphysical Society page, and there's also a Queen of Mercia page. Uh, I'm I'm still on Twitter, but
X. No, it's X.
X. I know where no one calls it X. Everyone, it's still Twitter. We all know it's Twitter.
I just throw it out there because people were like Twitter. I'm like, oh, you mean X?
It's I'm still on there, but only just to retweet other people's Kickstarter campaigns and comics and things like that. I'm moved more over to Blue Sky, which has been a lot of fun over there. And yeah, just look up MC Holly One. M is in Mary, C is in Cat, HOLLY in the numeral one, and you should be able to find me or my name. And I'm on Instagram at MC Holly One as well. So yeah, I'm out and about there. I'm actually not a huge fan of social media, but it's, one of those
It's
things you
unfortunate.
gotta
It
do.
seems like that's what you have to do if you like put out creative stuff.
Yeah, yeah, I do. I know Facebook is they say it's for old people or whatever. I don't care. It's a great way to keep in communication and contact with people and
Dude,
talk.
I'm old. I remember MySpace.
Oh my God, I think I had a MySpace account. I never did anything with it, but I didn't know what to do with it. I'm like, oh, okay, fine.
All right. Well, thank you very much for doing this. Do you have anything else you wanted to throw out there to the multiverse?
Well, please come check out Morgana Pendragon and on Kickstarter and pledge if you can. And if you can't, sharing is great. Sharing and posting is absolutely wonderful because you never know who's going to see it, who, will be able to back. So yeah, both are great.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you very much.